I've made a countless number of mistakes within the NFT world that has cost me thousands of dollars. You may be on the verge of doing the same thing. However, I'm here to teach you these lessons so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. This video essentially will save you from hardships, heartaches, and an empty crypto wallet. And make sure to stay until the end because I've got 10 tips and lessons that I'm 100% sure that will benefit you in the long run, especially if you're a beginner. Let me save you time and money. This video is perhaps the most important video to date that I've made, so you seriously do not want to miss this. In addition, keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial or investment advice. Now let's get started. The first lesson I want to teach you is that in the NFT space, there are beginner NFT enthusiasts who start to develop a very and extremely unhealthy trait, and that's called shiny object syndrome. So what is shiny object syndrome? Shiny object syndrome is the tendency to continually chase new trends, new opportunities, and new ideas without evaluating the benefit first. In the NFT space, shiny object syndrome means continually chasing new NFT projects without researching the project first, which could potentially cause a severe loss of money. There are a lot of shiny objects within the NFT space. Extremely talented artists are joining new startup projects every day, and trust me, their art looks amazing. But most NFT projects are so much more than just art. Be careful when it comes to NFT projects that have an amazing art but absolutely no utility behind them. Unless the project is strictly an art-centric project, I tend to stay away from these types of projects. I am 100% guilty of buying into NFT projects based solely on just art. What I've come to learn is that every art design from a project I come across tends to look amazing. Seriously. But what I've learned is that I can't use art as the sole reason why I should consider NFTs though, which is why research is extremely important. As you may have seen or heard someone tell you, do your own research. And this ties to my second lesson. Do your own research. Doing your own research goes a long way and is the ultimate cure for FOMO or fear of missing out. Let's be real though, we're not scientists and we're definitely not using the scientific method in order to research NFT projects. My definition of research within the NFT world is the following. Researching enough about the project in order to form a reasonable, self-driven decision as to whether to buy in or not. How you do your own research is up to you. You can watch YouTube videos like mine, you can read the project's roadmap, read about their team and founders, communicate and participate within their Discord server. Whatever you want, however you want to do your research, researching an NFT project can consist of a lot of steps, but ultimately you just want to make a self-driven decision as to whether to buy into the project or not. I will be releasing a video on how I personally research NFT projects, so if this is something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell. Now the third lesson I want to go over is to make it make sense. Now for this tip, I'm going to be going over some common situations that kind of triggered me to think twice about a project and encourage me to not buy into a project. The first situation is, does a project really need that much capital in order to achieve its roadmap? If a project is expected to sell out and make over $30 million and their roadmap consists of an alpha group, a second collection drop in Q2, a private Discord, and a $10,000 donation charity, and merch and apparel with their logo on it, does it really need $30 million? Make it make sense. The second situation is the project's main utility is launching a game, but no one on their team is a game developer. I get it. Obviously, they can hire a developer, but compare this to other projects where number one, the game could possibly be ready already, or number two, at the very least, one of the team members has experience with video game development. Again, make it make sense. If Project A's main utility is launching a video game in Q4 of this year, but has zero game development experience on the team, compare that to Project B's main utility, which is also launching a video game. The game is already ready and multiple members of the team are game developers. Which one would you consider more? Another situation to think about is the project promises passive income as utility. This is a huge and common utility that most beginner NFT investors do not understand. When an NFT project promises or uses passive income as one of its utilities, you have to understand that that money has to come from somewhere. It doesn't just grow from thin air. I would be very, very cautious of projects that promise this. Make it make sense. If the only source of revenue that an NFT project is generating is secondary sales from OpenSea, and there are over 5,000 owners, and only 5 to 10 sales per day, where is that passive income going to come from? The team has to get paid, and so do the other 5,000 owners. The way I see this situation is this. For Project A, if the only money coming in is from investors, there is absolutely no way that all the investors are going to make more money than whatever money is coming in because of 1, fees, 2, overhead expenses for the NFT project, and 3, the NFT project team has to be paid. You will come across many more situations where it does not make sense, but what I said before was just a few that I've come across. Now, the fourth tip is you can't succeed alone. In order to succeed, you're gonna need to consume NFT content daily, whether it's from Twitter influencers, Discord groups, and/or YouTube channels. But all this information is going to be 10 times easier to digest if it's curated in some way, shape, or form. This is where an alpha group such as my own comes in. Because I'm only a single individual, it is practically impossible for me to stay up to date with all the NFT projects by myself. For that reason, I created the JC NFT Patreon community where we provide first access to whitelist spots, NFT mint trackers and calendars, and strategies to help you get into solid NFT projects. You can check it out in the description below. This next tip I want to relay to you all is related to opportunity cost, and here's what I mean. If there's one tip you take away from all the tips relaying within this video, it's probably this one. It is more costly to invest into the wrong project than it is to miss out on the right project. Get used to saying no to projects and missing out on them. This tip I learned from Swombat or Daniel Tanner, who is a super intelligent NFT investor. I recommend you go check him out, by the way. Before I learned this lesson, I was constantly buying into NFT projects, which essentially lost their value, which in turn meant that I lost money. But think about it. Imagine you invest $5,000 into an NFT project that crashed and burned straight into the ground. You essentially lost $5,000 of your hard-earned money. Compare that to missing out into a project whose value rose to $10,000. The opportunity cost is there and you may have missed out on making that much, but at least your intuition of knowing what a good project is improving. And this leads me to my next tip. Start with intuition and mock buying projects. When I first started with NFTs, I spent a good 1 to 2 months mock buying NFT projects based on my own intuition and research. What I mean by this is that before I actually started investing into NFT projects, I would pretend to buy them and keep track of how they performed over the next 1 to 2 months. If a project I would have bought performed well, this would help build my intuition in buying the right projects. If a project I would have bought performed poorly, this would help build my intuition in not buying into projects and why. Tying back to the previous tip, you have to get used to saying no to projects, and within this lesson, at least you'll build confidence, intuition, and develop critical reasoning skills which you can use for future NFT projects. There will always be more NFT projects for the time being, which you can catch up on. Now, the seventh tip I want to go over is diversification. Now, the likely goal that we share in common is that we want to make money from NFTs, and if you share the same goal as me, your chances of hitting a home run are a bit higher if you have a diversified portfolio of NFTs than if you have all your assets in a single NFT collection. From my interpretation, a diversified NFT portfolio means you have multiple teams working hard hours trying to take that project that you invested in into greater heights. Compared to investing into a single NFT project where you're purely relying on a single team, having your assets spread across multiple NFT collections is a safer bet. You only need one NFT collection to take off in order to affect your life drastically. Another lesson I want to go over is related to buying into lower price NFTs versus higher price NFTs. And this relates to your ease of mind, especially if you're an NFT investor who doesn't have unlimited capital like me. So think about this concept. It's a lot easier and a less riskier for you for when you buy into a project that goes from 0.1 Ethereum to 1 Ethereum than it is for you to buy into a project that goes from 1 Ethereum to 10 Ethereum. It's really not often, and at least for now, for an NFT project to break a 10 Ethereum floor price. This lesson really ties to alleviating the psychological pressure put on you as well as when you make investments. Here's my experience. I've made just 2 NFT purchases around the 4 to 5 Ethereum range, and these purchases are a lot more riskier because a lot more of my money is involved. In addition, the pressure of me thinking that I can potentially lose a couple $1,000s if the price decreases kept me worried quite often. Now, when I compare that to NFT purchases that I've made ranging from 0.1 Ethereum or less, or to 0.3 Ethereum or less, these purchases are a lot less riskier because a lot less money is involved. In addition, there's much less pressure because a lot less money is involved. In both situations, both NFTs technically have the potential to hit that 10 Ethereum floor price or higher. However, in situation 1 where I buy NFTs at the 4 to 5 Ethereum range, I could potentially lose 4 to 5 Ethereum. In situation 2, where NFT purchases were in the 0.1 to 0.3 range, I could potentially lose only 0.1 to 0.3 Ethereum. The same potential exists, but one situation puts me more at risk than the other situation. Now, the last and final lesson I want to leave you all with is something that I've said a lot in my videos before, and that's nobody ever lost money taking profits. In the NFT space, I am hugely against shaming people who sell their NFTs. For one, you never know what situation they might be in. Maybe they are financially tight. Maybe they made a mistake and they're just trying to cut down their losses. Regardless, profit is profit, and me personally, I tend to take profits aggressively. I am always happy if one of our Alpha Group members makes profit, even if it's as little as 0.1 Ethereum, because to me, that's always a win. There is no one who can predict the market with 100% certainty. So with that being said, if there is profit to be taken, I am usually one to take profit aggressively. In a future video, I'll be going over how to take profits aggressively within the NFT space. So if this is something you want to learn more about, do subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. But that's all I've got, and I hope this video helps you out because a lot of it is based on my mistakes and lessons that I've learned. I'm hoping that it can help you save some money as well. In addition, feel free to check out the link in the description below as well to join my Patreon community group. I'd love to link up with you all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.